Yeah.
Well, hi everybody, it's Lisa Tamati here at Pushing the Limits. It's fantastic to have you back again for another fantastic episode. I'm really, really excited about this one. I've got a lady that I've followed for a long time on social media and heard great things about her. So I've got Rachel Grunwell. Yes, you heard that right. She's on Pushing the Limits, so that's really, really exciting. So Rachel, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Lisa. It's great to be here.
Oh, it's fantastic to have you. Now, for those of you who live under a rock and don't know who Rachel is a journalist, and she's also an author and a wellness and health expert. And Rachel, I want you to go back and just give us a little bit of background about you, your life, your how you got into this, because you came from investigative journalism of all things, and you completely very, very different. So, Rachel, take it away. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so in a previous life, I was a very hard-nosed journalist for 25 years, actually. And I would hold politicians to account and people in power to account. And I really love that industry because you could create incredible change. You could help change policies or help, the underdog when they needed help, and, publicly hold people in power to account. And I had a dream to become an award-winning journalist, and I reached that in my 20s, which I felt very lucky to do. And I went on to, have a family, and I still kept in as an investigative journalist, and I would work out from 1 day a week to 2 days to 3 days. And I worked for some really amazing editors who just backed me and would take how many days a week that I could work and build up to. After I had my third son, Finn, it was by luck and by chance that I was offered a weekly column by the Herald on Sunday. And it was a wellbeing column, and I would try and survive all these fitness and health activities every week. And I always joke that if at the time I was offered the wine column, I would have leapt at that and said, yes, please. So I was, at home. I was super unfit. I'd never been this kind of fit creature. And so when I was offered the column, it was really great because I thought, yes, please, I'd really like to learn myself. I was really confused about nutrition. I was so unfit. I was a really unfit mum. I would struggle to push a pram around the block, and look, I was huff and puff, and I found it really difficult. And I thought people who were really fit were like Lady Gaga. They were born this way. Seriously, they were different beasts. They had different genes to me. And I was such a guinea pig with that column, and I tried juicing diets and got really hungry, angry. I tried surfing. I tried dancing, and I was worse than a certain politician. I had 2 left feet, and I started a run journey. And I started it, so it would have been 7 years ago now. And I just thought, I've just got to show up. I've just got to try. And I really don't understand this, but I'll just see if I can run a fun run one day. And I started with a 20 minutes walk run routine around the block two times a week. And I did that for a few weeks. And I hated it. I was the colour of a fire engine. I was awful. And it was really hard. And I was that unfit, and it was horrible. But one thing I'm really good at is just being bloody minded.
Yeah. Helps if you're into running.
Yeah. And especially in your realm. Oh my God, I don't know how you do it. You're like 10 next levels above.
No, same principles.
Really?
Oh just go one step further than you've been before. And
seriously. Oh my God. Yeah, so I started that, and after a few weeks I thought, oh my God, I can run a little bit longer, or I'm doing less walking than I was before. I can run a little bit longer. I feel a little bit stronger. Wow, I can really feel this. And actually you can really measure it. That's the coolest thing about running, right? Is that you can measure your progress. And so once I could run 25 minutes, I went to a PT and I said, look, if you can get me to run 10 Ks or 30 minutes unbroken, you won't be a PT. You'll be an MM. And he's like, what's that, Rach? And he's like, miracle. I'm like, you'd be a miracle maker. And yeah, but I just showed up to training and I just kept going and got stronger and fitter. And yeah, and then I did a 10K and a half marathon, and then within a year I did my first marathon. And fast forward to today, and I'm about to run my 25th marathon, and a lot of them are give backs, which is guiding disabled athletes.
Yeah, that's amazing. We'll get into that.
Yeah, and since I've qualified in the industry, so qualified coach, I help people lose weight, get fit, live a life they love, and in a really holistic way. So I don't just help them train, I really care about how they're living their lives and how to be them best selves. And qualified yoga teacher in meditation, and there's a cross of passions. Actually, we're a little bit similar, Lisa. So I love what you do, because I've worked with a lot of athletes, elite runners to weekend warriors, crossfitters, dancers, to mums and daughters teaching yoga. And I work with a lot of big brands teaching mindfulness and meditation and yoga and stuff now. So, but yeah, with the athletes, you need to rebalance your body, or otherwise you're going to break.
I'm so into that too. As coaches, we've like I as an athlete did it all wrong for many years and broke myself basically by not having that holistic approach, and that's really important for us too as coaches, is that we really look at the whole person, their whole life, and where they're at, and how do we get them forward without breaking them, without burnout, without getting lots of injuries, and really looking at their whole health and not just their run times, so that's why our philosophies align really nicely there. It is. And you've touched on meditation and yoga there. What's your take? I mean, I'm right into meditation and actually self-hypnosis and things like that as well, and reprogramming. How's meditation helped you in your life, and what's your take on the whole yoga meditation sort of world?
Yeah, so I teach it now at retreats and at big events with brands and things like that. And what's been really transformative for me, like I was the worst in meditation. I had a terrible monkey mind, worst fidget, like my mind was all over the place. And what helped me was just starting small. It's like starting that run journey, right? It's like the first person who prescribed meditation to me gave me 30 minutes and I just went, wow, like I'm not going to do that. Like it was so overwhelming and I just didn't do a minute of it. But the second that I started small and I started slow and I did a minute, then, there's huge magic in that. And I can do that. And that's how I train my mind. And mindfulness has been transformative for me in how I live my life. And, mindfulness, just for anyone out there who's not hugely in tune with it, it's about not being stuck in the past. So I wasted a lot of my 20s and 30s feeling really angry and upset and stuck about certain things that had happened to me or how people were with me. And I really, I cared too much, I think, about pleasing people. Yeah. But I really hung on to stuff in the past, and you can't change anything in the past. So mindfulness is about letting, acknowledging the past and move, not getting stuck in it. Yeah. And then it's not being, in the future, because you can't control the future. So it's, having this letting go process. It's just about living in the now, celebrating the now, seeing the absolute beauty and magic in the everyday
environment. And this is just so crucial. Like, our lives are run by our subconscious, and that is always, with our conscious minds, we're either in the past or we're in the future. We're always scared of what's going to happen to us, or anticipating stuff, or we're upset about what's happened to us in the past, and we're replaying those things. With our subconscious programming controlling 95% of our lives, to say, that we only have a very small processing capacity with our prefrontal cortex, and our subconscious is actually doing 95 to 99% of the work. So we can do what we want with our conscious thinking and still not have that breakthrough, because The rest is happening at another level. And when you do meditation, when you do mindfulness, this is, you know, what's really important is about letting go of the past and understanding it, not blaming and not staying stuck in that cycle of emotion, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
So break out of those emotional responses, because otherwise, if you're reliving every day a trauma that you had in your childhood or your past at some stage, then your body is experiencing all of that pain every damn week, you know, and every day. And your body doesn't know the difference between that was 10 years ago or what is right now. It's having those same reactions. And so we get stuck. And this is where I think, you know, the meditation, the deep breathing, and it's totally not woo-woo, is it, Rachel? It's not just...
No, it's science back, and really heavily so. So, you know, psychologists prescribe mindfulness. It's in the workplace. Like I work with a lot of corporates in this field, and they now are really welcoming that transition to understanding the science in these disciplines. And yeah, it is so transformative. And, you know, part of it's getting older and a bit wiser and, you know,
as well.
But, you know, like, how you choose to experience the world is such a big thing. You don't, you know, get to choose what happens around you or how other people behave, but you always get to choose how you show up. And you know, like you know, energy goes where energy flows. And so, like, I want to put my energy into really good things and positive things, chase dreams, get shit done. You know,
I mean, to go from, you know, within 7 years, I mean, being this hard-hitting journalist to now being a wellness expert and a fitness expert and having run nearly 25 marathons, that's a massive transformation while bringing up 3 children, you know, and writing a book. I mean, I mean, on the book journey, like, let's go there for a little bit, because I'm in the middle of my 3rd book, and there you go, balance, everybody. Listening or watching this on the video, you can see Rachel's book, Balance. It's a hell of a journey to get a book out, isn't it, Rachel?
Oh my God, it's so hard. I can't believe you're up to your 3rd. Like, one seriously almost broke me.
This one, my 3rd one, is absolutely almost breaking me too. If I wasn't an ultra marathon runner, I'd have chucked it, I think.
Yeah, you know, the endurance test thing.
So how did yours come about, and what is your book about? And tell us a little bit about the interviews and things that you've got in there, because I'm interested to find out all about that.
Yeah, so it's called Balance, Food, Health and Happiness, and it's like this duck egg, beautiful blue colour, and just really simple in design. So a lot of men are reading it, so it's not candy floss pink in colour. So I really love that, because I work, you know, as a coach and yogi and things, work with men and women, and so I'm so pleased that the designers went with that beautiful, clean design. So how it came about was I have still kept that writing arm. So I'm a wellness columnist for Good Magazine and also Indulge Magazine. And one of those goes on the Herald Online every week. And I also work as a blogger with a lot of brands and things. So I've kept that writing arm going as well as the wellness work. And over the years, I'm so lucky because I get to interview some of the best minds in the wellness industry, you know, nutrition, fitness, movement, mindset, a lot of most amazing minds, not only in New Zealand, but throughout the world. And my journalism background has served me really well because, you know, there's the writing craft, but also, you know, the question, you know, having that curiosity with questions and things. And so, yeah, I went to a publisher a couple of years ago. I got a publishing deal. I feel very grateful for that. So hard to get that. And it's based on 30 experts from throughout the world sharing science-backed wellness wisdom in all the kind of categories like psychology, neuroscience. There's 4 nutritionists in there. You know, there's doctors in there, there's researchers, and, you know, there's a neuroscientist in there who works with All Blacks, our top rowers, and Formula One racing car drivers to perform at their best. And everyday Kiwis can use those pillars to live their best lives. There's amazing stuff on emotional intelligence, like, how to relate better with kids, with friends, with colleagues, to be a better human, I guess. And, there's also 30 recipes, so 30 experts and 30 recipes. So there's a lot of, there's like a great beetroot juice in there for runners.
Yep.
Actually, because I'm such a passionate runner, there's even like the exercise high explained in there by a doctor and like what's going on in your brain. And there's, some cool science concepts in there as well, like flow, which is a secret to a life worth living, is finding flow. And, you and I know how to find that through running. And it's such a gift we can access because, it helps us feel good. It's when you're lost in the moment, you're immersed in the doing, you've got this reasonably high skill set. And so, we can just run and get lost in the moment. And it's moving meditation.
That flow state is something I've studied. Have you read the book Stealing Fire? I've forgotten the author's name. Fantastic book. You guys should read it. That's all being able to tap into flow states and what flow states are. And I think that's a really important part of, I have flow states like when I'm a jeweler, so I create, jewelry.
Yes.
I haven't been doing as much lately because I'm so busy with things. And I miss that, being in that state where 5 hours go by and I've not even noticed because I'm just so in the creative process. And it takes a while to get in there, and but it's something that's just fantastic. Then that you're actually doing what you're made to do, so to speak, and you can get that running, you can get that writing. It depends on what your thing is, but finding that flow state, it really pulls out the best in you. This is when you're actually in your genius, if you like. Hey.
Yeah, it's the psychologist who came up with the term calls it kale, I think. It's a secret to a life worth living. Like if you can find your flow state, whether it's making jewelry, whether it's, getting lost in the moment doing knitting, or, even surgeons can find flow. They're mid-surgery, they're immersed in the moment. They won't even notice like music on in the room. They're like just lost in the moment in the doing. I don't know whether you can see it. Just grab. Yeah, so, I find my flow state, through music as well, alto saxophone player. And so music's really cool. And even if you love listening to music, oh my God, and like mixed music, great playset where you're running. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. My husband's a muso, and it's just like, I just watch him instantly go into a flow state when he's playing his guitar and stuff, and I could be yelling at him at dinner room. He's not hearing anything because
they might be selective hearing.
Obviously, if I was moaning, but you'd think he'd come for food. But
that's true.
In that flow state, he's just in a different world, and I envy him that. Like I don't have a musical instrument, so that's just a beautiful thing to watch. And this is when humans are at their highest potential. And if we can spend at least a little bit of time every day in that state, then we're much happier as humans, eh?
Yeah.
And we're achieving what we want to. Now, I wanted to sort of, take a left hand turn in the road and talk a little bit about your work with Achiles and your, giving back to through your running. So I know we actually met through our mutual friend Ian Walker, who has been on the show before. Absolutely, Rachel, just amazing man. Ian was hit by a truck years ago while he was out and on his bike, and
he was an amazing marathoner, like really fast marathoner. Yeah, and just that moment on the road.
And he ended up in a wheelchair, and then he built his way back to doing marathons in his hand bike and so on. Absolutely amazing story. And then he gets hit by another ute, I think it was, while out on his hand bike, and he's had to go back, and he's actually even further up paralysed now. And I don't know the technical term, but it's further up the back, basically, quadriplegic now, and he's fighting back again. And he just absolutely blows my mind. Whenever I'm feeling down about, I can't run as fast as I used to or as far or whatever. I think about Ian, I think about, get over yourself, and you've had the privilege of traveling to the New York Marathon with Ian and the Achiles crew. Tell us a little about your work with Achiles and how it has all panned out for you.
Yeah, so look, it was really special being on that trip with Ian, actually, and we forged this incredible friendship from that time, and we've kept it ever since. I, care very much about him, and, he's just a great mate, and yeah, love hanging out with him, and yeah, he inspires me hugely with his capacity to train, and I love his determination to want to do well in these races, and he's an amazing hand cycle athlete, and yeah, really, really awesome to have him in Achiles. And yeah, so I'm an ambassador for Achiles, something I'm really proud of. And I've helped quite a lot of different athletes over the years. So just quickly for any listeners who don't know what Achiles is about, we just help anyone with any kind of disability or barrier to participate in running kind of events. So half marathons, fun runs, marathons. And I've guided through quite a lot of races over the years, and love it. Love being part of that charity, and just about to take someone to New York, a visually impaired girl with Asperger's as well. I'm going to help her through New York Marathon soon, and also Sydney half marathon soon. I'll help her. Tamari, another inspiring athlete. But yeah, just, like it's a heart-connected thing. Like it's amazing to run your own race. Like, it's incredible to be chasing a time or just to be out there running your own race. But to help someone else achieve their dream,
it's
heart-lifting and wonderful. And you're connected forever, and through the tears and snot at the finish line, but the journey,
you're really emotionally already, you're in your head, you're somewhere there with one of your athletes, and I think that's beautiful.
But there's a lot of pride too, and I've done enough races now, and qualified as a coach, and I think one of my biggest gifts to share in that charity is to get them through to the finish line in a pretty good state. And so I know when they need to back off, I know when they need to fuel, I know when they're in that mind struggle, and just helping them through those different stages. And yeah, it's wonderful to share.
Absolutely amazing. And this would be, this is so great for not just for disabled athletes and not just in running. Wouldn't it be fabulous to have someone like that took you through everything in life,
Yeah. Well, science backs, if you've got a coach, you're going to get to your goal smarter and faster. And yeah, like everything in life, right? Yeah.
I mean, we're both biased being coaches, and
yeah, totally.
But honestly, I spent the first, I think, 10 years of my ultramarathon career without a coach. Well, back then there wasn't really anybody who knew too much about ultramarathoning in the area that I was in, at least.
Yeah.
And so you just went out, and the mistakes, the injuries, the burnout, the horrific stuff that you did all wrong that you could have saved yourself. And then my coach, Neil Wagstaff, who's now my business partner at Running Hot Coaching, he just flipped everything on its head, and I had the best performances, and we've had lifelong friendship and now business relationship, and it's just like, oh man, you shortcut the process. Why reinvent the wheel? And now in every area of life I search out, and this is one of the selfish reasons I do this podcast, is because I get to meet people like you and other amazing people who have done incredible things, and I get to learn. This is my way of learning as much as
totally.
So there's a selfish aspect to this.
I could learn so much from you too, Lisa. Wow. I've never done an ultra, and
hey, let's go there. I'll get you through to an ultra.
Oh my god.
No, that would be fabulous. I'll take you up on that offer if you're keen. I'll help you get to the next distance. But coming back to the Achiles, and helping other people. It doesn't matter if it's disabled people or it's just so. You get out of your own skin, don't you? Even in the middle of a running race, and I've been doing ultra marathons in the middle of deserts or something, and you're just like dying, and sometimes literally and sometimes just feeling like it. And then you come across somebody who is in deeper trouble than you. Instantly, you forget your own suffering and you're there for them. And then you help them through their crisis. And the time flies. Once again, you're in a flow state because you're actually focused on somebody else. You're outside of your own misery. And that means, that saying, pain is not optional, but suffering is. And it is like when you understand how to switch, and I'm not saying it's easy, but when you're actually focusing on, in your case, someone with a visual impairment or in a wheelchair or something, and you're helping them fight through their battle, and you can see how massive that battle is, it makes you feel like, well, what am I complaining about my sore legs and my blister on my toe? That's not as bad as what my friend is going through, and it lessens your suffering and it gives you a complete new perspective on life, I think. Would you agree with that?
And we get by in this world depending on the barriers that we place on ourselves, and they're not barriers that others put in front of us. They're the ones that we put in front of ourselves. And I guess the athletes who have, real disabilities, they inspire me. So, the rest of the world sees it as me helping them, and but actually they end up becoming, my friends, and a lot of them are like family to me. Like, I care about them that much, and
they become your teachers, don't they?
They inspire me. And I think, look, they can't see, they're not letting that barrier stand in their way. And actually, when it's a good lesson to share. It's like, what barriers are in your way, and how are you allowing them to affect you?
It's fantastic work, Rachel, and I hope you continue to do that. And to people like Ian Walker, for me, they're my role models. That is. And I mean, I don't know if you know my situation, the listeners who listen to my show know it, but my mum had an aneurysm 3 years ago. So working with her on a day-to-day basis in her rehabilitation, and, with massive disabilities.
Oh, it's amazing what you've done.
Yeah, she's just incredible, but it's given me a complete new perspective on life and what we're capable of, and the limitations that we place within ourselves. And, it's not that it's an easy thing to go through, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, but by the same token, I'm always, when I have adversity, I try to find the silver lining, the lessons, the learnings. How has this helped me, and how has this been an advantage? And this journey has just shown me so much about everything, like perspective. Like for her, here's me moaning, I can't run my 100 Ks anymore, or my 200 Ks or whatever, woe is me, my life's over. Because you're this athlete who's always been able to do these sort of things, and then you're looking at a person who can't stand, or who can't take a single step, or who can't even sit properly, and it sort of just relativizes everything in your life. And it's a really good reminder to have things like that, in your mind's eye, to just, okay, you're not, you're never going to be Usain Bolt, and you're never going to be Paula Radcliffe, but who cares? Get out there and do stuff anyway. Do what you can do. Don't be miserable for the fact that, I used to. And as a coach, we get a lot of people, I used to be able to do this and now I can't. And I'm trying to get them to let go of the past and just be here now. And once again, we limit ourselves sometimes by the achievements that we've had in the past. And turning that around in our head to go, okay, I've had an accident like Ian. He got to being so good. And then he was hit again, and then he's had to start from scratch again. And that just absolutely blows my mind that he would get up again and fight again, and knowing how long that journey is. So, yeah, I think the work that you're doing there is wonderful. So, Rachel, talk to us a little bit about your change in your nutrition side and things like that. What sort of advice did you get out of doing the book, or what learnings have you had on the nutrition side of things?
Yeah, so I qualified to PT level, to level 5. So there's a really nice underpinning of, national guidelines and, how we should be fueling our bodies. I'm actually personally quite low carb, healthy fat, almost keto, but I do like some good ciabatta bread with scrambled eggs on top. So I'm not perfectionist. Actually, my book is called Balance because I believe in all things in life and balance. So I drink coffee, I drink wine, love a beer with a mate, and I eat chocolate. I love chocolate.
Me too.
But 80 to 90% of my food is actually pretty good, and it's about putting in amazing fuel, amazing nutrients, but it's got to taste good. So for years and years now, I've been designing healthy recipes for Good Magazine. And so why I put 30 recipes in Balance is because I often talk about like the hero ingredients and how they fuel your body and how the magic, they bring about, like avocados, great for beautiful glowing skin, like, eat for vanity as well. And there's actually, for runners, there's some cool smoothies in here. And what I hate is smoothies that taste like swamp water or crap. Yeah. Drink a good, like, food. I love food. I love food too much. So if you're going to, eat or drink anything, it's got to taste good. And there's some awesome, so there's a chocolate smoothie bowl.
Oh my God, that looks too good.
And so that's actually really amazing for your skin. So, and delicious, nutrient dense. Amazing. But there's a great beetroot juice in here, which is amazing. As you know, all the runners I know are hugely into beetroot juice.
Yep, totally. I'm into beetroot juice.
Yeah, so there's some great post-run, post-exercise smoothies and juices and snacks and stuff like that in there. And again, it's just kind of weaving in the stories of, what to eat and drink to feel amazing, but to look amazing, and some of the science behind why. There's some really cool stuff around intermittent fasting right now, longevity and just feeling good.
It's really important that you enjoy your food too, and it's not just all horrible. Like I do get up in the morning and have this most awful whole litre of vegetable juice, basically, with everything from celery to lemon juice to turmeric and stuff. But
that'd be so good for you.
And that gives me my good start to the day. But then I don't want to have all my food like tasting like that. I want to be able to enjoy.
Yeah. So I often there's like 4 ingredients in a smoothie, and they'll be really nutritious and really good for you. And like some of the experts in the book, they're really cool. Like Nadia Lim talks about, banging in the whole orange in her smoothie. She's like, you just, bang in all the nutrients. That's pretty quick and easy and efficient. And Sarah Wilson is in my book, and she's the I Quit Sugar Queen.
Yeah.
So she's one of the most, 200 top authors in the world. She's amazing, and she's put out all these incredible foodie books. And yeah, she talks about, sustainability in my book, actually, not so much about food, but some awesome sustainability hacks. But she's about using everything in the food, like if you get celery, use the white bits, use the leaves, like use the whole damn thing, like you've paid for it, and it's all nutrition, and it's all so yeah, it's kind of changed how I look at food in quite a few different ways, like caring about where it's coming from, how it fuels my body, like it affects how you think and how you feel. It's like movement, right? Movement affects and rewires your brain, so you get incredible energy levels and creativity and your whole sense of how you show up in the world is linked to how you think, how you feel, how you move, what you eat.
And I think it's really like when you understand the science behind things, you're more likely to do it. I find, for me, when I was told years ago to do meditation, I was like, well, when I run, I meditate. I can't stand still. Now I understand the difference between, yes, that is a type of flow state and so on, but there's a need for the other type of meditation too, and why, and how that quietening of the mind and tapping into the the parasympathetic nervous system. And when you're running, you're in the sympathetic nervous system, so that's not going to, you know,
Mm.
create that balance. And when you understand a little of the science, I find it's far more interesting to actually do it. Then you get why you're doing it, and it gives you that, not just the, well, the teacher said you had to do this and you don't know why. I remember like learning maths as a kid and going, what the hell am I ever going to have to work out all this stuff? It's not applicable to my life, you know. But if they'd explained to me why, as a builder, if you want to build some, I don't know, a wall, you have to understand all this math, then I might have gone, oh, okay, I get it now, why I'm doing this silly A plus B equals gosh, whatever, you know. So I think understanding and doing that research is really important. Now, Rachel, we'll wrap it up in a moment. And I just wanted to give you the floor for a moment to, what is your main message? What does Rachel stand for? What do you want to get out into the world? What's your big, and I know I'm putting you on the spot, but what, you know, if there's 1, 2 or 3 things that you just really desperately wanted to share with the audience today, what would those be?
I guess live life in balance and less perfectionism. Life's all about progression. Be really kind on yourself. We're so hard on ourselves to be perfect. So there's this kind of process of letting go. And look, my mission in life is inspire Kiwis or inspire anyone to live healthier and happier. And yeah, look, I'd love everyone to read my book. And you know, it's not an ego-driven thing. It was for a long time as a journalist. I really wanted to be an author. Yep. But when it came to doing my book, it needed to be a whole lot more than that. Like, for anyone to actually spend money on my book, I wanted to be incredibly proud of it, but I actually wanted it to authentically, like genuinely help people. Yeah. So I brought together the best minds who helped change my life to be a lot healthier and happier. I'm more, you know, got way more emotional intelligence than I ever had. Still working on that. But yeah, these people in the book are amazing. And like, even if you read one chapter and it changes your health or happiness, there's incredible magic in that. So yeah, if you do read it, connect with me. I love it.
Yeah, that is so important, Rachel. You know, when you know, you and I as authors know how much you go through to get a book out. People would not believe how hard it is to get a book out. Yeah. And what you know, it cannot be about your ego and you wanting to sell millions of copies, because that's a dream. That's not going to happen generally, you know. But you have to be thinking about the individuals that are reading this book and that it's going to really impact their life. And you are talking for them. That's what the stuff is about that's in your book. So Rachel, where can people get your book? It's available in the bookstores as well as on your website?
Yeah, so it's on my website, inspiredhealth.co.nz, if you want a signed copy. But it's actually in Paper Plus, Whitquills, or wherever you are in the world. It's on Amazon UK or Book Depository. Just Google it, you'll be able to find it. And it's great. It's a great gift for like men or women. And the beauty of it is yeah, just read one chapter. Like, it's not a novel, you don't have to read the whole thing. If you're not into yoga, please don't read the yoga chapter. But if you're into, you know, how the science of the fitness high works, which is really fascinating, that's so cool, that chapter, or how to live your best life, or how to have, you know, 5 layers of listening so you can actually listen well, that was quite transformative for me. Yeah. Like, just read that chapter. And yeah, connect with me on Instagram, which is just my name, at Rachel Grunwell, or my Facebook page is Inspired Health NZ. Yeah, connect with me. I love those communities. I'm really connected. And the last thing I just wanted to share was I did have a massive crisis of confidence halfway through writing the book. It was a 2-year journey, and I almost walked away from it. I was an award-winning journalist, but I just had this really tricky time in my life, and I almost gave up. And, you know, you have this self-talk going on. I'm not good enough. Like, I'm not as good as my friends who are amazing writers. And I had a really tricky time, and really vulnerable stage. I almost walked away. I had a publishing deal, for Christ's sake. So if I What's that?
I'm so glad you didn't.
Yeah, and so me too. Like it was my biggest dream, right? And yeah, and it was frightening to do it. And I think you've just got to be brave and follow through on your dreams. Don't give up on them. And I'm so glad I didn't. I love my book. I'm so proud of it. I feel emotional every day when I get messages from readers. But yeah, my message to anyone out there, don't ever give up on your dream. And I know you're all about that, Lisa. I love that.
Definitely. And see, I hope people are listening, because, you look at Rachel Grunwell and you think, oh, wow, beautiful, amazing, 3 children, super career, books, blah, blah, retreats. And you go, and a lot of people, that's intimidating, right? And they look at it and go, well, I could never do that. But when they hear from people like you saying, I nearly didn't make it with this book, I struggled with this, or I had problems with that, then people realize like you said at the very beginning of this interview, I thought people who did health and fitness and sport just different genes, and they do not. They do not have different genes. They just did the work. And one of the main themes running through this interview today, which I really picked out again and again and again in your talking, was just start small and do something every day towards your goal. I think if I could sum up this whole interview, it would be that as one, takeaway, is break things down. And then when it seems overwhelming, just do a tiny little bit today. And you obviously did that with the book, and I congratulate you on getting that book out, because I know what a massive journey it is. I'm still in the deep, dark recesses with mine going, is this ever gonna end? And how the hell is this gonna work? But it will, and I have enough experience now to know that I will eventually get through. And there's a lot of tears, there's a lot of blood, sweat and tears that goes into these books. So I do encourage you guys to go out there and grab Rachel's book. You're obviously not going to regret it. Rachel, thank you so much for being on the show today. So go to inspiredhealth.co.nz. That's right, Rachel.
Yeah, and you can find out all about the book and read who the experts are involved.
Yeah.
One on anxiety, another person on depression. The experts are really cool. One of the top happiness researchers in the world is in there. And I did air guitar when he said he'd be involved. Thank God he couldn't see it.
Read them and then try and get these people some on the podcast. So thank you very much for all this inspiring talk today, Rachel. I wish you well in your business endeavors and the work that you're doing and with your Achiles people. My love to you, and thank you very much for being on the show today. It's been awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. You inspire me, so thank you.
Thanks, Rachel.